All right, team, welcome to the next fitness show. You are here for episode 92. Welcome. I'm so excited that you're here. So, my name is Alexis Craig. I am your host for the show, and today we have a very special guest. I'll bring her in just a second. Now, as we're getting started right now, the first thing I want to ask you to do is if you're here live right now, please say hi in the chat so I know that you're here. So go ahead, drop some kind of comment in the chat so I can say hi right back to you. And please, whether you're watching this live or later, please push the like with the little thumbs up on the video. It makes a big difference and it really helps us. So we'd appreciate that very much. All right, we have a really awesome show for you today, and we have a really special guest. She's actually been here with us once before, a while ago, and our guest today is Erin from Project Soulflower. Erin, welcome. Say hey, and yeah, thank you for being here with us. Um, so we'll bring Erin back in just a minute. Erin, welcome. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Erin is really awesome. We'll introduce her full on in a second, but it's really exciting to have you here. It's going to be a great show. All right. And besides that, we also have a stretch break. We have a move of the week. We have a bunch of exciting announcements for you for the Next Fitness Thing community. And we have a little topic at the end that's going to be really interesting to talk about as well. Okay. Now just a little bit of housekeeping. This is part of the Next Fitness Thing. Now, we are an online fitness and wellness community, and if you want to check us out, you can go to thenextfitnessthing.com. You can also find us on all the socials at the Next Fitness Thing, except on TikTok, there's no the at the beginning. It's just Next Fitness Thing. All right, so go find us in all the places. And without further ado, what we are here to talk about today with Erin is what is on your bucket list. So, Erin, but as we're getting started, first, will you introduce yourself to us and just tell us who you are and why we even invited you here today?
Absolutely. My name is Erin Entlick, and I am a fitness professional and health coach, but I work for Project Soulflower, and it's a new nonprofit started about 3 years ago by a young woman local here in Colorado who was diagnosed with bone cancer prior to her senior year of high school. So she was 17 when Katie was diagnosed, and she received a Make-A-Wish because of her age. Make-A-Wish serves community under 18. And what she noticed when she was going through her cancer journey was that there's very little in place for young adults 18 to 26. Sort of like the world says you're an adult at 18 and all of the magic stops. And she became very passionate about starting a nonprofit that would grant bucket list dreams and experiences to her age group, those 18 to 26-year-olds. And we founded the nonprofit around bucket lists because Katie was very passionate about bucket lists. She started making bucket lists when she was about 13 years old and never stopped. Like, she always had a bucket list going. And what was unique about her bucket list is they were always a mix of really big pie in the sky things. Her last bucket list had start my nonprofit on it, which thankfully we were able to start the nonprofit before she passed, but also things like get sushi with my brothers, sleep under the stars, snuggle my dog, go to Disney, go to Europe, start a nonprofit. So it was this balance of really attainable things and big dreams. And she just felt the power of bucket lists to be very dramatic in terms of keeping her future focused, keeping her positive during treatment. And so that's why Project Soulflower grants bucket list dreams and experiences to 18 to 26-year-olds who are battling cancer or another life-limiting disease. We don't limit it just to cancer, but we do get a lot of cancer kids.
Wow. Okay. Um, That was a lot. Thank you so much. Okay, so I got a couple things out of that. One is that we're so blessed to have you here joining us today from a variety of perspectives. One, because you are a health, wellness, fitness professional, and so that's really what this show is about. So we're going to have your perspective on all the things that come through this show. So that's really awesome. I'm excited to have you here for that. And as a emissary of Project Soulflower, we are doing a 5K as a fundraiser for Project Soulflower coming up not this weekend, but the one after. So we also get to talk to you a little bit about the organization that's going to be the one that we're raising money for as part of the 5K, and
Yeah.
also that that organization is really about granting bucket list dreams. So that's what we're talking about today is the bucket list. Cool. Okay, so my question with the bucket list is I can see how it's just so interesting to me that Katie actually started this bucket list practice before she ever found out that she had cancer.
Right.
Like it wasn't
She
like I
just
found out I have cancer and now I have a bucket list. It's like she already had that going on. And
yeah.
so, I mean, it, in some way, it speaks to her wisdom in a way, anyway. And I mean, I wouldn't say that I have an explicit bucket list going right now. I can see how that might be a valuable practice. Can you tell me a little bit, like, why do you think this is something everyone should do?
I do. And I think we should shift away from making New Year's resolutions and shift towards a practice of creating a yearly bucket list instead
Mm.
with things that you want to do. 2 years ago, I had my kids make a bucket list for the dog. So it sounds silly. We put it on the fridge, and so we're like, what's on Piper's bucket list? It was walk to Cosmos to get treats, happy hour on a patio, do a hike, walk around Crown Hill Park. And so what was great about that is when we got into the boredom of summer, when we're just at home and we're in between trips or activities, it's really easy to lapse into lethargy or just apathy, right? Of like, oh, I'll just turn on something on the television or doom
Right.
scroll on my phone. And when we would have these lulls, I'd point to something on the refrigerator and I'm like, oh, we haven't walked to Cosmos to get treats. It's on
Nice.
Piper's bucket list. Let's go. And so I think
Nice.
the same is true for humans, obviously,
Yeah.
right? Which is if you have something on your bucket list, it keeps you future focused, it keeps you moving the needle in the direction of your goal. And it can just be little things where, what do you want to do this summer? So that since then, we've had the kids make summer bucket lists, right? And so you want to go tubing in Golden, you want to get ice cream, you want to go for a hike, you want to hike a 14er, whatever it is, put it on your summer bucket list. And when you think, oh, I don't know what to do today. I'm bored. Oh, well, look at your bucket list. What's still on there? What can we do? What can we check off of that bucket list? So it's
Nice.
been a fun way to just think outside the box too of what you would normally do. And we have had some bucket list parties for Project Soulflower.
Oh,
And what's really fun about that is you get everybody working on their own bucket list. So we have some templates that we print out in, a cute little bucket. And so you can free form right in the bucket. And we have stickers, and Katie's bucket lists were always really colorful. So it's like a little art project too, which is fun. So at a lot of our events, we'll have a kid station with bucket lists for them to fill out and make their own bucket list. But I've watched adults sit there, they're writing their bucket list, and then they look over at their friend and they go, oh yeah, I want to learn to surf. I want to, you know what I mean? Because you'll get ideas from what other people think would be an interesting adventure or a new skill to try.
sure.
And that's what your bucket list can be about, right? Travel, adventures, new skills you want to learn, restaurants you want to try, whatever.
Right. I love the idea that it can be big things and little things, that it doesn't really have to be just these grandiose, huge things to put on your bucket list. Because
And I
when
think it
I think of
should
it, I
be.
always think of
Yeah,
huge things to put on my bucket list. You know, I want to write a novel, I want to like travel around the world, all these things that would take a lot of time and a lot of energy and a lot of
right.
money, usually.
Yeah. And so you
Right.
need those smaller ones peppered in throughout the big ones to keep you anchored in the present moment, too, right? It's good to stay future focused, but like, what can you do today? What could you do tomorrow? What could you do this month, this week that would bring joy and help you grow as a person?
Right. So where do you suggest that we put the bucket list? Like we write it. I hear that you have these events and you put up whole thing. So if we were to actually give some tangible, concrete instructions of what to do, what would you suggest that you do?
Well, I'd say put it somewhere visible. So for us with the kids and the dog, we had it on the refrigerator. So you're constantly seeing it and being reminded that these things are on your bucket list, as opposed to kind of like a New Year's resolution. You make it and then you forget it, right? A couple weeks go by and you're like, man, that's too hard, or and it gets forgotten. So put it somewhere visible, tape it on your bathroom mirror, put it on a refrigerator, have it in your journal, somewhere that you're going to look and see it, keep it by your bedside. And then it is a fun thing to do with friends that you could get together, create bucket lists, make them colorful, make them fun, use magic markers, use stickers, get creative, and it helps make it more fun.
Cool. I love that idea. Maybe we could have one of those parties digitally and we could like do it through
Absolutely.
our Discord or something. Cool. I love that
Yeah.
idea. All right. And I can see in the chat we've got Edie and Megan and Jenny and Daniela and Carol all in here saying hello. Edie says not kicking the bucket too early is the first thing on her bucket list.
Perfect.
Uh-huh. And then I guess my next question is like, how I mean, there's part of this where it feels like you keep saying future focus. And then I also hear this piece of wanting to stay in the present moment, right? And so, can you speak to a little bit about how to balance that or how you hold being present while and being future focused?
Yeah, I think I keep mentioning staying future focused because I think that's really important for I call them kids because they're 18 to 26, but they're young adults. And I think that when you start talking about battling cancer or other serious disease, what we've heard from our dreamers is that having something to stay future focused really helped them in the dark days of treatment. It can get pretty depressing, pretty traumatic when you're talking about some of the treatments these kids have to go through, and knowing that on the other end of that treatment, on the other end of chemo, on the other end of surgery, is this thing that they've always wanted to do, this place that they've always wanted to go, helps keep them positive. It helps keep them fighting when it gets really hard. So
Right.
that's the idea of having something future focused in terms of these smaller items. I think it does help anchor you back in the present moment. I think both things are important, right? If we're constantly focused down the line in the future, you're missing these beautiful moments that happen day to day, like sushi with your friends, sleeping
Right.
under the stars, something that going for a walk with your dog, right? Really easy, simple things that would bring you joy in the present moment while you're still fighting and looking forward to these bigger events that are on your bigger bucket list.
Right. It's like both of them are actually valuable. I
Mm-hmm.
What it reminds me of is I read the book Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, and he was talking about his experience in a concentration camp in the Holocaust. And he was
Wow.
basically saying that being future focused, it was the exact same thing what you're saying with the dreamers, that future focus was really what he noticed was the difference between the people who made it through and the people who were just like, didn't have the
The fight.
inner fight to get all the way through the experience. And of course, there's other factors going on there outside of your control. And that's the same for these kids too,
Yeah.
you know, so yeah, I mean, I just find, wow. What kind of things do the dreamers usually have on their bucket list?
Gosh, we have done so to date. We're about 3.5 years in. Katie passed in May of 2022, and we had founded Project Soulflower prior to her passing. So we already had the 501(c)(3) paperwork in place, and we were a foundation, but we had not granted our first bucket list dream yet. Since that time, we've granted almost actually over 60 dreams, big and
Wow.
small. So
Okay.
it's pretty incredible what we've been able to do. Now we'll get the big things. Disney continues to hit our radar. You get
Right.
these 19, 20-year-olds that have never been, and Disney's
Oh,
on their radar. Travel with family. We've had skydiving, a glam photo shoot with a best friend. We get a lot of requests for major league sporting events. So Broncos, Avalanche, meet and greet with players, just going to games is a big one. Formula One racing was a really fun one we did a year and a half ago, and that was in Austin, Texas. And probably my favorite dream we've done was for a young man, George, who wanted to go back to Mexico. He was terminal. He wanted to see his grandparents one last time.
Oh,
And so we were able to fly him with his sister back to Durango, Mexico to surprise his grandmother and grandfather. And he was on oxygen. I mean, it was a
complicated.
miracle that we were
Hmm.
even able to get him to be able to travel. And he was able to go spend a week with his grandparents. And we have video of him surprising the grandparents. And it just beyond touching and heartwarming. So if they can dream it, we try to do it. So we have them
Wow.
fill out a bucket list and we have them put lots of things on there because several times we've been able to receive in-kind donation, like Bronco tickets, meal at a restaurant, a car service. So our budget for the dreamer goes further. So,
Right.
I'm thinking back to Ryan, where we were able to send him to Frost Creek up in the mountains to have a golf weekend. He was a big golf enthusiast with his dad, brother, and best friend. And that golf trip was donated, which was really generous. He's who we sent to Formula One in Austin, Texas. But then we also were donated Broncos tickets on Christmas Eve, dinner at North, and a car service.
Oh,
So we were able to do all those things for him because of in kind donations. So, yes, we love monetary donations, and we're so grateful to organizations like you who help us raise money, and that's critical. But also, we love services and photography services, just tickets, in kind donations for airline tickets, Airbnb, things like that, all help us just grant more of the young adults' bucket list items. So it's
right.
fun
And
when
for
we
the
can,
organization that donates that, it doesn't really necessarily cost them that much compared to the benefit
right,
that, or the retail price of what it would have cost in order
right.
to buy that. Nice. That's beautiful. Wow. I had tears in my eyes when you told the story about the grandparent visit. That
Yeah,
was
it was so sweet.
so touching. So what's on your bucket list, if you wouldn't mind sharing?
Oh gosh, I didn't know you were going to hit me with that one. Um, Mine always comes to travel. I love to travel. I've always had a little bit of wanderlust, so top of my bucket list is always travel. And Italy's on there. I went, but when I was a senior in high school, so that was a long time ago. I feel like I need to get back to Italy. Iceland is on my bucket
Oh,
list. I
okay.
know. And Portugal is on my very short list bucket list. Almost went there for spring break last year, but we did Costa Rica, which was also on my bucket list.
Cool.
So traveling with my family is always top of my bucket list.
Cool. That's great. All right. Well, I haven't really thought about this for myself, honestly. So this is really
You're gonna have to
helpful.
make a bucket list and text it to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, and I feel like that it would be really fun to do a bucket list event for what do you guys think who are here in the chat and who
That would be so
is that
fun.
something that you'd want to do? It seems like that would be a
And we do
great
have some templates, so we
cool.
could push those out digitally. Everybody could download their template and we could have a virtual bucket list party.
Oh, I love that. And I just feel like I love the idea of a bucket list. We're always reframing the New Year's resolutions, right? We always are talking about intentions or maybe it's a goal or whatever it is. And I really like the idea of the bucket list, especially even compared to calling it a goal, because you could call these goals, right? And so
Mhm.
what's the difference for you in calling it a bucket list item versus calling it a goal?
Gosh, that's a great question. For me, the way I frame bucket list, and it's partially because I saw Katie's and this mix of, easy, tangible things that are just fun, accessible things you could do alone or with a friend. And like you said, the big ones, writing a book was always on my bucket list also, but that takes time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And many other factors.
Mm-hmm.
I like the bucket list as opposed to a goal. Sometimes I think goals and resolutions come with weighty expectations.
Yeah.
And then when you don't meet them or achieve them or stick to them, then you beat yourself up and you get yourself in a negative spiral. A bucket list to me is just something fun that,
Hmm.
like, what do you hope to do this year? As
Right.
opposed to a goal that if you don't achieve it or meet it, you failed somehow. You can't fail at a bucket list, right? But you can fail at goals and New Year's resolutions, but a bucket list, you can't fail at it. They're just things that you are envisioning for your next year and things you'd like to try or do or a new hobby or something. So to me, it feels more positive.
And less, it feels like less pressure is what I'm
Way less
hearing.
pressure.
Yeah.
Way less pressure.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I love that. Okay. That sounds, I love that. Um, yeah, I feel like why is it called a bucket list? Do you know that?
Because there's things you want to do before you kick the bucket. So
That's
it's
that's why it's
literally,
called
right?
that.
Yes. So for a lot of people, it has this negative connotation, right? Which is like, these are things I have to do or want to do before I die, which
Right.
is very intense, right?
Yeah, right.
But when you reframe it, especially if you talk about doing one every January, this is just like some hopes and dreams for the year, you know. And if you don't meet them that year, you can easily punt them over to the next, right? They roll over. Your
Sure.
bucket list dreams roll over. So, um, but that's where the name comes from.
I see. Okay, that makes sense. And I guess the other piece of what I find valuable about this practice is it seems like it actually helps you to touch into your mortality in this way that's a little bit playful.
Yeah,
Where, I mean, it's reminding you that you're not going to live forever and that, you want to actually think about that and to plan accordingly and really do the things while you're here in this one precious life. And at the same
absolutely.
time, like without taking it so seriously of like, this is what I have
Right.
to do before I die, right? So
Right.
it's like a lighter way of holding your mortality.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like that's even the wisdom of what with the dreamers. It's like I can just feel so much playfulness and wisdom in their, young years. And I don't
And
know,
the
I find them
joy they got
inspiring in a
from
way.
it
Hmm.
really is. I asked one of our dreamers, I had the honor of participating in the glam photo shoot that two girls did together. And it was one dreamer's dream to do this glam photo shoot, but she invited her best friend who was also in treatment. They met in treatment.
Oh, wow.
And when we had this glam photo shoot, we had this 70s inspired Airbnb that we rented. A professional photographer came. It was called like the Zen Den or something. Everything was 1970s. It was so groovy. And I got to be there, which was amazing. And it was the first time these young women had done anything outside of the hospital together.
Oh,
So they'd
wow.
met in treatment and gone through treatment together, right? And that their illness bonded them because who else can understand what you're going through when you're 20 and you're going through chemo and surgeries and but when they got together it was the first time they'd been together outside of the hospital, which
Wow.
when you think about what healthy 20-year-olds are doing, right? They're just enjoying their life. And here was the first time that they were able to spend time together outside of the hospital. And I asked one of them, what having a bucket list dream to look forward to meant to her. And she said it made all the difference in her treatment. She said, number one, it can get really dark, right? And it's hard to keep fighting and keep focusing, but knowing that there's something on the other end of the hard thing that will bring joy was very important. She said, which I get, but it's just so powerful the way she said it. She's like, you just want to feel normal. You don't
Right.
want to feel like the sick kid. And that getting to do a bucket list, whatever you've picked, right, is something that her peer group would be doing. They would be traveling and going to Disney. They'd be fishing on a boat in Catalina Island. They'd be doing a glam photo shoot. You'd be traveling and living and working and living your life. And I think that that's something that's really impactful about what we do because of the demographic we serve. It's
Hmm.
not that, I mean, look, cancer's tragic at any age.
Yep.
And obviously, it's very awful for young kids. But when I think about young kids, their world is relatively small, right? It's whatever their parents and their family have have allowed it to be. They're not out in the world on their own, and these kids are on social media watching their friends go to college, get a first job, travel. And I think the feeling of missing out is even more profound with this age group than any other. It's this pivotal time where you really are launching into the next chapter of your life, and these kids are stuck in a holding pattern while they're having treatment.
Right.
And it's tricky, and they see it, right? They see it on social media and see what their friends are doing, and it's this constant reminder that they're sick and they're not able to do these things.
Right.
And so this young gal, Quincy, she said just feeling normal was so profound for her, not feeling like the sick kid for a moment. So that's something else these bucket list dreams do, is just anchor them back into what should be their reality of the time of life they're in.
Yeah, totally. Wow, that's so powerful. Ah, thank you for sharing so much around this. It's so great to talk about it, and I mean, I have lots of ideas going through my head now as the result of this. For those of you who are watching this, if you have anything on your bucket list that you want to share, feel free to drop that in the chat. We would love to hear what's on your bucket list, big or small. All right. And with that, we are going to shift into our mid-show stretch break. So don't worry, Erin's staying. She's got a lot to share in here. Oh, did we get it? I think we did. There we go. Mid-show stretch break. So today for our stretch break, our stretch is Erin's favorite stretch, which is world's greatest stretch. All right, why did you pick this one? What is this stretch?
I love this stretch because I feel like it does everything. You're getting your upper thoracic mobility. So many of us get really tight through our shoulders and mid back. Then you're getting into hips, hamstring with this lunge. If you've never done it, do it. I still teach yoga a couple times a week and some other fitness classes. I almost always do this when I'm teaching a weight class. This is always in my warm up. And this always lands somewhere in my yoga class because it's the world's greatest stretch.
Okay, if you were to offer this stretch for someone who it was very challenging to get on the ground for, how would you modify this stretch for them?
Yeah, you could put your front leg up on a bench or a chair, right, to bring the ground closer to you. You could
Hmm.
also drop your back knee for more support if staying lifted through that back leg felt challenging.
Hmm.
You could also just come to tabletop and work through the thoracic mobility, through twisting through the upper back. Um, so you've got some options there. And then the more you do it, the more accessible it's going to be.
Hmm.
So being consistent with it and trying to do it daily or a few times a week is going to help open all those areas that are tight.
Awesome. I love this one too. Um, P.S. If you're doing this right now, which I hope you are, switch feet if you haven't already. If you're only doing one side, make sure you do the other side. Um, I love this. I usually just call this runner step twist, which is a little bit different. Like in the one that I usually do, you don't twist both directions, you just twist toward the leg. But I really, really love this stretch because it's like you get everything all in one. You're opening up the front side of your body, you're getting the twist in there, plus you're getting the plank in there, so you're getting the core activation at the same time. I mean, it's like the workout and the stretch all in one to make you ready to go. Like for me, if you're only gonna do one thing before you work out, if you do this, you're pretty good. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, cool. Um, Anything else to share about this stretch? What do they call it in yoga?
Well, I guess you runner's lunge with a twist, but I still call it world's greatest stretch.
Ah, uh-huh.
And so if you want to layer onto that, you can push back into downward facing dog, take a few breaths in down dog before stepping the other foot forward. Um, to link it together and get a little more posterior chain stretch through calves, hamstrings in that down dog.
Sure.
So you could do that.
Cool. Okay, I love it. Thank you for sharing World's Greatest Stretch with us. That's awesome. All right, and now we have our move of the week. So let's see what we got here. We have our move of the week, and I asked Erin what she was her favorite move, and her answer was something posterior chain, which basically means what is posterior chain for those of us who don't know? What does it mean?
It's just backside of the body. I feel like
Right.
we spend so much time sitting, as we are right
Mm,
now. You're driving, you're sitting. I think we're chronically weak through the backside of our body.
yeah.
So I love anything that is going to engage hamstring, glute, core, back, and this one does it all.
And here it is. So this one does it all. Do you see it? I don't see it.
There you go.
Where did it go?
There it is.
You see it now?
Yeah, so it's a hinge in yoga. You'd call it, airplane when you hinge with one leg up. But
Mm-hmm.
she's adding dumbbells in a row, so getting into mid back and lats.
Oh, I see.
You've got the balance component through the standing leg, and then hamstring and glute working.
I love this one. Okay, so this is Veronica. She is showing us a single leg deadlift or Romanian deadlift, or you call it airplane, maybe Warrior Three. This one has so many
Yep.
names for what it is, but basically balance on one leg and row at the same time. And when you told me posterior chain, I was like, what's the most posterior chain thing I could find? And so that's why I
Yep.
picked this one because it was upper and lower body posterior chain.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If you were going to give some tips about how to do this well, what would you say?
So it's really important to stay active through your lifted leg. A lot of times when I see people hinge or come into that airplane warrior three, their lifted leg is all loosey goosey,
Mm-hmm.
and active leg is a lighter leg. So it'll also feel lighter to lift if you've got that quad, the glute engaged, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to help keep your pelvis level. So if you see she has a closed hip, she's not opening and rotating her right hip towards us. She's keeping
Yep.
her hip point shining down. And so that's what you're looking for, long line of energy from the heel out through the crown of the head when she hinges. And then if I were to modify it, I'd say you could just keep your right toes down and hinge. So you could ground that airplane, if you will. Keep the
Yep.
right toes down, push the hips back, and just find a hinge with kind of like your right toes are acting like a kickstand. You still have all of the weight into your left leg, but you're taking that balance component out of it to make it a little more accessible.
Awesome. Yeah, you covered so many of the points right here. I love the way that you cue the hip. What you said, the point shining down. Is
Yeah,
that
so
the way
your
you
hip
said it?
points, right? You want
Cool.
them both shining down as opposed to if you were to open your hips going into a half moon pose in yoga, you'd open that right hip and her hip point would be pointing towards the camera, but it's shining straight down. So that
Right.
means her hips are staying closed and she's got all of the work into that left leg.
Yeah, I love that. I trained a figure skater before, and in figure skating, they train you to open your hip like in half moon. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's like a battle to keep the hip square. If I was to add anything, I mean, you're obviously very masterful at cueing this, and you mentioned so many things. For me, the biggest thing to mention is probably the foundation. So just what I see is the foot sort of waving around a lot. So I would just say ground your foot. If you're struggling with the balance, ground your foot, like cement your foot energetically to the ground. And you notice that Veronica's bending her knee. You don't have to lock your knee out on the standing leg. But the piece that is the stability is going to be coming from the glute, especially because that's the fulcrum of all this hinging going on. So the more you can activate your glute when you're going into this, and I would, squeeze the glute on the standing leg, it's going to help you feel more stable in this pose. So those are just some points for this single leg deadlift, Romanian deadlift with a row. Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Oh, it's so fun to have you in here. You're like a master of all these things too. I don't have to cue it at all. You got it. Like, just do it. That's great. All right. So we have some announcements in here, and the first one is exactly what we've been talking about. So this is the event that we have been talking about for this entire show so far. This is the Friendsgiving 5K, and this is the benefit for Project Soulflower, and it's coming up on November 22nd. That's a Saturday. It's not tomorrow, but it's a week from tomorrow. So, Erin, what can you tell us about this event?
Yeah, so Kilometers for Katie is one of our key fundraisers. It was started by Katie's Uncle Joe 3 years ago when he ran 50 kilometers and asked for pledges to run 50K, raising money for
Whoa,
Project Soulflower. And
50K.
50K. Yeah, he can log some miles or
That's a lot of
kilometers in this
miles. That's
case.
like, I don't even, 30 miles or something. It's a lot.
Yes.
It's more than a
Yes.
marathon.
Correct. And last year, you helped me launch the first 5K, and we're continuing again this year, where it gives everyone an opportunity to get involved. You can walk, you can run, you can rollerblade, you can scooter. We
Right,
don't care how you cover your kilometers. I mean, this is not, it's a fun run, it's a fun walk, it's not a Boston qualifying event. So it's
right.
chill. It's just an opportunity to get together in the spirit of the season, giving back, and help raise money so we can grant more bucket list dreams and experiences to these young adults who really need it.
Yeah,
And we've
awesome.
got the local option at 10 a.m. in Wheat Ridge, Colorado, same place we were last year around Crown Hill Park. We will have our registration across the street at the BP Run Co. At 9:30, where you can, for the local people, you'll get your limited edition
Oh
Project
wait, hold
Soulflower
on. I
water
gotta
bottle.
spotlight you for
Oh,
that. We want to see that.
so for our local people, we've got granting bucket list dreams across the top, and then the Project Soulflower logo on these purple
Cute.
water bottles. So our local folks, when they register and show up anytime between 9:30 and 10, they'll get their water bottle. We'll walk across the street to the park. We'll walk or jog our 5K. And then on the other side of the shopping center from the registration, we will have an after party at the Works on their dog friendly patio. So just another opportunity to hang out um, and help raise money for Project Soulflower.
Cool. I love that there's an in-person and a virtual. That's really fun for us too. That's like a bridge to the real world, not just being
Yeah.
virtual friends. The PS, if you are watching this and you are a reasonable distance from Colorado and could go to the local, you are also invited and registered for the virtual too if you sign up for the local. So if you want to do the local and still be part of the virtual, you can do both at the same time, just saying. All right, we have a little
Yep.
slideshow here from Project Soulflower. I think a bunch of these are Katie too. So
Yeah.
just
So it's
gonna,
Katie with her two brothers.
aw.
Katie ziplining Costa Rica. She was sick at that point. That was the when she was in Costa Rica. That was January before she passed in
Oh wow.
May. But Costa Rica was on her bucket list, as was zip lining and some other things that she was able to do when she was
That's
in Costa
cool.
Rica with her family.
Wow, that's amazing. And just saying, we do have a shirt. It's a long sleeve hoodie if you want to get a 5K shirt to be able to proudly shout out Project Soulflower in this event as well. And this is just a little picture of the dreamers themselves, so you can get a little mini profile of who you're supporting,
Yeah.
just a few of them
Daniel was our very first dream we granted,
right
and
here.
we granted it on Katie's 21st birthday. And he just
Aw,
wanted time with family. That's what we get from so many of these young adults. They just want time with family. So we rented a house in Longmont. He had a lot of restrictions in terms of higher elevation, and flew his sisters in from Texas and just had a whole family week for him. It was really special with his twin brother and his mom.
wow, that's so sweet. Um, and you mentioned Joe, and this is Katie's Uncle Joe right here too, so you can see
Mm-hmm.
who's gonna run. Well, how many? What was it? 50K?
50K is his
Unreal.
has been his goal the last 2 years. He's done 50K. So we'll see what he does this year.
Wow, just wow. All right. Well, if you'd like to sign up for this, in order to register, you go to thenextfitnessthing.com/friendsgiving5K. So that is the URL is thenextfitnessthing.com/friendsgiving5K. And you can sign up there, and all of the proceeds go to Project Soulflower. So go and sign up. It's going to be a blast. I'm going to lead the 5K virtually. I'm really looking forward to it, and it's going to be really fun. Plus, a lot of our teammates are already signed up for it. So we will definitely have a cheering squad in there, cheering people on to hit the 5K. It's going to be great. So shout out to everybody who's already signed up. All right, and other announcements. right after the 5K, our newest trainer and yoga teacher, Kelly, has volunteered to lead a 40-minute stretch class. So this happens pretty much directly after. This is included in your membership. So if you already are a Next Fitness Thing member, you can come to the stretch class even if you don't do the 5K. So this is going to be Stretch 40 on Saturday the 22nd at 10 a.m. Pacific. Also, the day after this 5K is our book club day. So, PS, if you have not finished the book yet for book club, get on it. And this is a great opportunity for active recovery. If you do the 5K on Saturday, you can leisurely walk on the book club for the walking book club and talk about this book. The book this month is Where They Last Saw Her by Marcy Rendon. I've just finished it. It's actually fantastic. I loved it. And I think you will too. On Thanksgiving, we are having a turkey trot. This is also included in your membership, but we do have the option to join for people who are not members. It's just $10 if you want to join, and you can just pay for that. But if you are a member, it's included in your membership. You can go to thenextfitnessthing.com/turkey trot. This will be 40 minutes on Thanksgiving morning. It's at 7 a.m. Pacific. Also, this is a big announcement. This, you have not known about this yet. So, our newest announcement is that our holiday party this year is more than a holiday party. This is an awards ceremony. So, we are going to have awards at our holiday party for our teammates. This will take place on Saturday, December 13th. I'm telling you now, a month in advance, so that you can make sure you're available for this. It will be directly after the morning classes. So the morning classes go from 7 to 9 or something like that. And then this happens directly after 9 a.m. Pacific on Saturday, December 13th. So mark your calendar now. And with that, we want you to fill out a survey so we know who to give the awards to. So this is your chance to nominate your teammates or maybe yourself. You could put your own name. It's an anonymous survey. I'm not going to see who nominates who. So go to survey.thenextfitnessthing.com. And I know that was the URL for our old survey. So if you get the old survey, when you go there, clear your cache and the new survey will show up. So go fill out the survey and let us know, nominate your teammates for the awards, and I can't wait. This is going to be really fun. We've never done this before, and we've been talking about it for an entire year since last year. Mary Beth and I and Kathy have been talking about doing this award since last year's holiday party. So go fill out the survey. We can't wait to do it. Okay. PS, if you're not part of the Discord yet, make sure you join the Discord. And for those of you who are in our current walking challenge, we have a specific Discord channel that is for that challenge. So every single day that's in right now, our walking challenge is the Walking with Gratitude challenge. And every single day in the Walking with Gratitude challenge, we have a prompt about what you're grateful for this, for this, for this, for this. And that is up in Discord. So if you haven't been commenting on those, get in there and go comment and share. And yeah, the Discord is awesome. Okay, we have one more topic in here, and this is something that Erin and I have been chatting about all morning, to be honest. We have a lot to say about this. So, our our topic that we're gonna have one more little topic in this show is weighted vests. All right. How many of you have a weighted vest and actually wear it? Drop that in the chat. I want to know who, if you normally wear a weighted vest to class, tell us. We want to know. And all right, Erin, how do you feel about weighted vests? Tell us what's the deal with this?
I have mixed feelings about it. Right now, I feel like it's like the secret password for all perimenopause and menopausal women. Everybody's rushing out and getting a weighted vest. And I think there's a lot of benefits to be had by them, but I'm a believer. This is how I feel about supplements as well as any fitness gadget. If you aren't nailing the basics, are you sleeping? Are you managing your stress? Are you drinking water? Are you minimizing junk food and alcohol? Are you eating real food? Are you moving your body daily? Have you started lifting weights? If you're not doing the basics, I don't think it's appropriate to add a weighted vest or necessary. I think we are chronically uh, our society is chronically obsessed with like optimizing. Right. So, like any sort of easy button, or I can optimize and I can make my walk better. Maybe. But if you're not walking regularly, I'm a no on it. I would say, why don't you create the habit of walking 5 to 7 days a week? And then you can look at layering on. I have a couple friends and clients that use weighted vests, but one is a runner and a weight lifter. She lifts weight all the time. She will add a weighted vest to incrementally increase her squat weight, for example, right? She's not quite ready to go up in another plate on
Right.
either side of her bar, but she could add an 8, 10, 12 pound vest while she's squatting, and that's appropriate. Or people that are live in Colorado, people are always hiking and training. That can be an appropriate thing if you know you're going to be hiking and adding a heavy pack. Start hiking and walking with a weighted vest. But if you're talking about, somebody who is more sedentary or just really sporadic with their workouts, and now they're throwing a weighted vest on to go walk Fido, I would say just take the dog for a walk, create the habit, and then look at, adding layers on.
Right. Yeah, I love your perspective on this. We have Edie in the chat saying, I want one. You're waiting for them to go on sale. And I mean, to be fair, Edie takes class at least once a day, every single day. She walks every single day. So
She's probably a good candidate for one.
yes, she's a good candidate for it because she already has the habit. It's already happening. And so it's like what you're saying with the optimizing. In order to optimize something, the first piece of optimizing something is doing it.
Foundation.
Like, yeah, you can't optimize it without actually having the thing to
Right.
optimize. And so I totally agree with you. And I feel like there's so many, I'm just like, I'm visiting my parents right now, and I'm like, the TV's on. I don't usually watch TV, and so I'm seeing like, oh my gosh, gimmick. Oh, look at what is this
Yep.
gimmick? And so, and a few weeks ago on the show, we did fitness gimmicks was like one of the things that we went through, and just laughed at some of the fitness gimmicks. So it's like the weighted vest. It's not necessarily a gimmick, like it it kind of does do something that is
Absolutely.
beneficial, but it's really only going to be beneficial for you with a habit that you already have.
Right.
And what would you say to somebody who's like, well, if I get the vest, then maybe I'm going to start walking?
I'd
Like,
say start walking first because
yeah,
you want your body to adapt, right? So there is a certain stress with walking, just like with any exercise. It's walking, so it's not as much as with running, but it still it's your body and your joints and your ligaments learning to absorb force, right? And so you need to create that foundation before you then add weight to it. Right? If somebody had never worked out, I wouldn't hand them a barbell and tell them to back squat 100 pounds. I would have them squat their body weight. And then when that form was good and they were consistent with squatting their body weight and that exercise became easy, then I would add weight, right?
right,
And to make it more challenging. But for some of these people that are just looking for the quick fix and think that if they get a weighted vest, suddenly they're going to drop 40 pounds, I would say you might end up getting injured because you've added weight. And so, depending on how it fits, it could give you neck problems, low back problems, especially if you just strap on a 12 to 15 pound weighted vest to start. The ones that I've seen that I like do have the ability to change the weight so that you could
right.
incrementally add, because I don't think you just start by adding 12 pounds to your body and going for a walk. So
Right.
I
I
don't
would
know.
say that's a key feature is that
Right,
if you're in the market for a weighted vest, you want one where you can adjust how much weight is going to be in the vest. And if you think that having that vest is going to make you walk more, then I would suggest taking all the weight out of it, put the vest on with no weight in it, and get your walking habit going. And you're gonna then go from 0 to 1 is gonna be what you're
right.
once you have your habit established, right? But I want to
Yeah.
just call out, especially we've been really noticing among our teammates walking with just body weight that like foot problems is one of the biggest injuries that people have from walking is they have issues going on with their feet. And so if you start with a weighted vest without already having a habit of walking consistently, that is exactly the kind of thing that would be exacerbated is a foot
Right.
problem. And so you want to make sure your feet, and it may be something else, like you said, it might be your lower back, it might be your neck, it might be something else that is the thing that would be the breaking point. But you want to make sure that your body can withstand just your body before we add more variables and before we add more weight to it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not a magic bullet. It's a tool like anything else, but I think so it's become such a hot topic and you see it all over Instagram, all over my neighborhood. Nobody's walking their dog without one right now.
Really?
It's not a, oh my God.
Colorado is, you're in
I,
Colorado, right?
yes. I
Colorado is
almost feel like, am
another
I missing out
animal.
that I
It's
don't have
so
one?
different there. It's like people are real. I mean, they always say that people in Colorado are like the fittest people in America, right? I think it's
Right.
true.
Yeah.
People in Colorado are really moving.
Active. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
But it's
So
not a magic
everybody's
bullet.
wearing a weighted vest. Is
Everybody, every woman over 40 is
I
wearing
see.
a weighted vest. And
Okay.
there are some benefits to it, but the same as with weight training, right? So if you're someone who won't weight train, but you'll walk with a weighted vest, then I suppose it is good because you're increasing bone density and all those things that we need as we age. But also, if you have a regular strength training program, you can probably just go for a walk and enjoy your walk, you know?
Right. Right.
So
I've been seeing this company that sells weighted clothing, and they have weighted
so
shirts,
funny.
they have weighted skirts, they have weighted shorts, they have weighted like
That's
everything.
insane.
And they, it's like a social media thing. They reached out to me
Yep.
to be like a brand ambassador or something, and I was
Right.
like, "Oh, tell me what it is." And they have like a 1 pound weight that they put right behind your neck, or
Oh,
they have a one
funny.
pound weight that they put on your hip or whatever. And I was like, oh, that's so interesting. I'm not necessarily saying it's bad or anything like
Yeah.
that. I mean, the clothes were kind of cute, but
Yeah.
I'm like, you could probably get one. I mean, you carry a water bottle, that's
Yeah.
at least a pound. Like,
Right. You know what would be interesting though, is I don't know if you've ever, in working with clients, when you're helping them with weight loss goals and you start thinking about losing 5 pounds, 10 pounds, it doesn't have to be a lot of weight, but how that makes day to day life easier or less impact on joints. For someone in a weight loss journey who is exercising regularly and is a good candidate for a weighted vest, it could probably be a good mental reminder of not putting the weight back on. Because I imagine if I put on a 12-pound weight vest and went for a walk, especially uphill, it would feel significantly harder
yeah.
than just walking with my body weight.
Oh,
So
yeah.
perhaps it would be a good mental training tool from that standpoint on your weight loss journey to be like, I really don't want to go back to my old habits and put on the weight because walking up a flight of stairs or doing housework. I've got some friends that will just wear them the weighted vest while they're cleaning their house
Hmm.
for like additional resistance. Um,
Okay.
so that could be an interesting avenue to explore with a weighted vest, like how it helps your mental shift around maintaining your healthy habits so that you don't slide back. I don't know.
Okay. I feel like it would just make me, once I take it off, I would feel like I'm so light and free. I could jump
Right?
and
Yeah, probably do.
run. What do you think about wearing the weighted vest to do housework?
Um, the, you know, the same way I feel about the weighted vest in general. I think it can be a great tool, but I think we've become obsessed as a society with this idea of biohacking and optimizing, and it gets us away from building the foundation of basics that I think you can't ever get away from, right? If
Yeah.
you want to be healthier, you need to sleep, you need to manage your stress, you need to eat whole food, you need to move your body, you
Focus
need
on the
to do the basics.
basics.
And when you're doing those regularly, I think if you want to have fun with add-ons, then great, right? Try it, but nail down your foundation and the basics first, and then look to add on.
Hmm. All right. I love your perspective. All right. What else? Is there anything else that you want to tell us? This is the end of the show. So, if somebody wanted to follow you, do you have socials? Do you have anything else that you want to tell us at all?
I do, but I'm not terribly active. So I would say follow Project Soulflower.
There you
So
go.
we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're starting to move into YouTube and TikTok, but right now Instagram and Facebook, Project Soulflower. follow us. That would be great. And you can go to our website, projectsoulflower.org, sign up for our newsletter that goes out at least once a month, sometimes more. And that's a great way for people that are less active on social to stay abreast of news, events, and ways to get involved, whether that's volunteering, donating, in-kind donations, or anything else. So yeah, follow the foundation.
Nice. And then how do you will you spell it so that just I people make sure they go
Yeah.
to the right place?
So project,
Hmm.
Project, and then it's Soul, SOL. And that's a nod to Katie's Hispanic heritage. So Project
Aw,
Soul, SOL, flower, FLOWER. So projectsoulflower.org. But the
nice.
soul is SOL,
Soul, like the sun.
like the sun.
Ah, cool.
Yeah.
All right, Erin, it's been such a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much for being here. And honestly, thank you for bringing this event to us. And it's really great for us to be able to take part in this. And it's really an honor to hold this fundraiser for Project Soulflower.
Well,
So
thank you
we,
so much for having me, and thank you
yeah.
for getting involved and helping spread the word about Project Soulflower. It's a really exciting time for the foundation. We're growing. I think so many people don't know that Make-A-Wish and other foundations stop at 18 or only serve under 18. So we're really trying to pick up where they leave off and create the same magic and experiences for young adults that are battling cancer or other serious disease.
Aw, that's wonderful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. And that brings us to the end of the show. So y'all, thank you for being here and see you
Thank you.
later. All right.
Bye.
Bye. All right. We dance it out around here.